Yeah, the management piece is crucial. I mean, and even much more so in the short-term rental space than in the long-term rental space, because as you said, like reviews can just crush your returns. I mean, basically the way that short-term rental properties show up on platforms like Airbnb or Booking.com is based on reviews and price. And if your reviews aren't doing great, then you lower your prices, and that's not the direction you want to go. And so management really can make or break your property. I mean, you can have two properties right next to each other, wherever they are in the world, even there in Dominican Republic where you are. Like you could have two condos on the beach right next to each other that are identical, same amenities, same location. But if one has really good reviews and the other one doesn't, it can literally make twice as much money.
Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. Today's guest, Tim Hubbard, is a real estate investor who focuses on short-term rentals and is also the host of the Short-Term Rental Riches podcast. Tim, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Dylan. Happy to be here.
Great to meet you, Tim. And I was watching a couple of your episodes. I love talking to other podcast hosts, especially folks who've been doing it as long as you have, because I think it becomes both a passion and then a really amazing networking tool, which is what I found for me. How did the podcast, the Short-Term Rental Riches podcast, come about for you?
Well, I've been investing in real estate for a long time, and things have gone pretty well in the US where I'm from originally. And I was investing in multiple states and eventually multiple countries. And a lot of people had questions how I could manage properties from far away, especially short-term rental properties, which have, you know, infinitely more pieces to the operation. And so I started the podcast just as a simple way to answer those questions, quick actionable advice for short-term rental investors. And yeah, 6 years later, been doing it every Tuesday, and it's been great.
I think the short-term rental space, especially internationally, is amazing. I live abroad in the Dominican Republic, which I mentioned to you before hopping on here. And seeing how big Airbnb is outside of the US really puts into perspective just how incredible the STR space is. When did you become involved in short-term rentals internationally outside of the US?
I guess 2017 for the first time when I invested in Colombia. I spent a lot of time in Colombia. Still do. We're building a boutique resort in Colombia in Medellin right now. And then I eventually met my wife in Brazil, and so now I split time between Brazil and Colombia for the most part.
I don't speak any Portuguese. I'm imagining you have to get by. You got to speak some Portuguese at this point.
We speak Portuguese pretty much the whole time at home. Yeah.
My fiance is Dominican, from Dominican Republic, so I've had to learn how to speak Spanish, and it's amazing. You probably have this experience, Tim. You know, when you don't have the option to speak English, it's remarkable how fast you'll start learning another language, even if you think maybe you're not the most inclined to do so.
It's a necessity. Yeah. You either learn or you don't communicate.
That's right.
It's very much
I'm
so.
hungry now. I guess I need to learn some Spanish or some Portuguese in your case. Walk me through what it was like getting involved in investing abroad. Was it a very intentional goal, or were you abroad and realized, hey, this is a great place, Medellin, Colombia, Brazil, right? And if I'm going to be here, I might as well be investing over here.
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
So, originally it was just was not so much an investment as it was like just something I wanted personally. I wanted, some space abroad that was mine and I didn't need to rent. Investing internationally, I mean, there's quite a lot of things. It's very different, right? I mean, first of all, the regulations and the legal systems are different. So you have to make really certain that you're working with a good lawyer and you understand all of the nuances. I mean, like there is no MLS or anything like that in South America, for example. And so and that also means that the markets are really inefficient. When not everyone can see the prices and the activity in the market, it means that there's also a lot of opportunity. So from that aspect, there is a lot of opportunity if you really understand the market and you understand the values of properties and then also how to operate them in a different country, different language. So originally I went to Colombia just personally, but after spending a lot of time there, some good opportunities came up. And so, yeah, I started building a resort hotel about 3 years ago. We're still building it today, still adding phases to it. You also have the exchange rate
Yeah,
difference, so that's a completely
arbitrage.
yeah, that's completely outside of just real estate fundamentals. It's a whole nother dynamic that you got to consider. Um, and we also don't, as foreigners in another country, have loan opportunities, which makes investing incredibly more difficult. Unless you have a whole bunch of cash. I mean, but basically the returns are going to be lower on a cash on cash basis if you're investing 100% cash versus just 20% in the US or 25%. So quite a lot to think about, but you definitely got to make sure you're working with people that you trust.
No question. And as you're mentioning so many of those different obstacles and then ways that international investing is just straight up different. No MLS, right? No loan opportunities. I'm going through a lot of that myself right now as I'm, learning, what the correct visa process is, as I'm realizing that I can't find comps for, these townhomes or condos. And then also too, it's eye opening. And I'm sure you had this experience early on because I've felt like, wow, there's this whole world of real estate that exists outside the US. And as a realtor, I had just kind of falsely assumed that there's going to be MLSs everywhere. I can find comps. I remember the first time that I asked a Dominican real estate agent for comps, they were like, yeah, that doesn't exist here. And I'm like, well, how in the world do people determine property values then?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean it's incredibly inefficient. I mean you'll even come across multiple people selling the same properties for different prices.
Yeah, what is
Everyone's
that? Yeah.
trying to sell them. Yeah.
I think when we talk about international investing in particular, at least in my experience, it's as much, a love for the area as it is an investing strategy. And I've noticed this in the short-term rental space specifically versus some other segments, corporate housing or long-term, year-to-year rentals. People will find a place. I spoke with a guest yesterday who has a Airbnb in Aspen, Colorado ski destination that they personally love. So they're there, first and foremost, because they would be maybe buying a property for themselves, or they would be out there enough that they're going to get use out of it. And then to be able to turn that into a cash flow opportunity is really icing on the cake. To me, that's what international investing and being someone involved in the STR space internationally represents.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Yep, yep. Good thoughts there.
Let me ask you this, Tim. Between the different investments that you have internationally, but then also domestically, do you notice that there's any trends that have been linked to success, but also on the flip side of that, things that people are doing maybe to cut corners and make it simpler for themselves, such as, hiring out an agency to manage it entirely, when that something like that could tank your reviews and get you taken off Airbnb or so on.
Yeah, there. Yeah, the management piece is crucial. I mean, and even much more so in the short-term rental space than in the long-term rental space, because as you said, like reviews can just crush your returns. I mean, basically, the way that short-term rental properties show up on platforms like Airbnb or Booking.com is based on reviews and price. And if your reviews aren't doing great, then you lower your prices, and that's not the direction you want to go. So management really can make or break your property. You can have two properties right next to each other, wherever they are in the world. Even there in Dominican Republic where you are, like you could have two condos on the beach right next to each other that are identical. Same amenities, same location. But if one has really good reviews and the other one doesn't, it can literally make twice as much money.
That's
And
right.
so it all comes back to management, and there are a lot of pieces, when it comes to management. So, and there are a lot of people that try to take the easy road out, and unfortunately, that's gotten a lot harder to do. When I first started with short-term rentals, you could put a property online and guest expectations were super low. Supply was very low. And so there weren't a lot of options, and people stayed, they left you a great review, and it was a lot easier to make money. But now there's, way more supply, some markets way more than others, and expectations are higher. And so it's a lot more challenging than it was. There's still a ton of opportunity, but the people that have tried to, make it passive or hire out someone that doesn't maybe have the expertise or isn't paying enough attention to the property, they definitely see the negative side of that. And once you get bad reviews, you can't really get rid of them. And so it's sort of a downward spiral.
Now, when we talk about managing risk and to a degree, like bad reviews and this type of thing, that adds a layer of complexity to it. But what also you have to be aware of in the United States, at least, is that you might have an area that changes the legislation. I'm licensed in Texas and Dallas. You can't do short term rentals, so it's 30 days or longer. I mentioned to you before hopping on here, I was listening to the podcast that you did with Furnish Finder CEO Jeff Hurst, and who's in that space, right? But abroad, do you think that there's any risk of that in places like Colombia, Brazil, where I'm at in Dominican Republic? Are there any people who are saying, hey, we need to legislate out these short-term rentals because there's too many of them? Is that pressure existing abroad?
100%. Yeah. I mean, it can exist at multiple levels. So it could exist even as much as like a statewide level or region-wide level or county, but then it can exist on like a neighborhood level. If you have a HOA or administration, which they have in, foreign countries as well. And then it can exist in an individual property or building level. If you have neighbors that have lived somewhere for a long time, and you can get pushback there. So you can get pushback or you can get regulated out as a short-term rental in a whole bunch of different ways. And, we can see like in Barcelona, for example, they just banned short-term rentals.
Yeah.
France, lots of really big cities have this internationally as well. I know, my personal properties that are abroad. In Brazil, for example, we have a property in a very touristy city. And even though that city relies very heavily on tourism, there's lots of buildings in the area that you cannot run as a short-term rental. In Medellin, where we're building the hotel, same thing. There's been tons of properties that have been regulated out. And so it does create an opportunity, though. If you have a commercial license or if you have a
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
property that has a permit and you're in an area where there are a lot of regulations and those properties start to come off the market, then that means there's less supply and the demand for your property goes up. And, we can see this all over the place. We have some partners in Canada, for example, that have like one of the only commercially legal properties and their prices have skyrocketed since all the other properties came off the market. So while it is challenging, I think the people that get in trouble are the ones that don't either have a permit or they're going into an area where those rules aren't established yet.
That's interesting to touch on the commercial space because I'm personally getting involved in multifamily and in commercial. I just had a conversation with my broker yesterday about sending out a buyer's rep agreement to someone who wanted to make a seller finance offer on some properties in Texas. And it's a totally different game, right? It's a totally different game. I can speak on the realtor side. It's like you're either going to do commercial or you're going to do single family residential, and you're basically not going to mix the two, was the feedback that I got. But on the investor side, if you're looking at short-term rentals, to your point, if you can't do the short-term rental strategy due to local regulation, having the ability to do commercial investing and look at some of these commercial plays means that you can be active in some of these areas where maybe short-term rentals, are not allowed. And so being able to pivot like that, while kind of two ends of the spectrum, allows you to be active in so many different places.
Yeah, really, really important to get the zoning right. And some properties have mixed zoning, where it's residential, but also commercial, and those types of properties would be much easier to get, licenses to operate as a hotel, essentially, even though they may not be a hotel. So really, really important piece of the
Tim, we are
investment.
coming up on time here on the show here today. Anything that you're working on, or anything that you'd like to get out to our audience, or is there a way for our audience to reach out to either you or your team?
Yeah, definitely. So my podcast is Short-Term Rental Riches. We talk exclusively about, short-term rentals, but our company is called Corzly. We act as this core operating center on behalf of short-term rental operators in multiple countries and over 40 cities in the US. We've managed tens of thousands of guests. It's all that we do. We've got a really amazing team, and we have a virtual approach to the management, all sort of based off of my personal portfolio, which we still manage today. So Corzly.com or Short-Term Rental Riches podcast, you can find us at both of those places.
Tim, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thanks for having me, Dylan.
Thanks for joining us for today's show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing on your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. You can also check out the show's notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and even how to work with me directly one-on-one. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. See you on the next show.